Alright. Oops, got to do this bit. There we go. Alright. First look. I'm more lenient with the Sunday gang, so we're about to have Wacky come in who hasn't played in forever. Alright. Didn't even save it. Let's try again, shall we? Alright, so we know what happens when I play Bruya. That's bad. Ventrue or Toreador? Let's go Ventrue. Oh my god, you can't. There's a. Oh. It was just stuck. Alright. Want to see your clan? I haven't played Ventrue. Alright. I'm gonna skip through all this because we've read it already. Alright. Yes, yes, yes. Come on. Classy ones. See, in the game you're playing, what I just did is exactly how my character would act. Want to watch a scary movie? Are you trying to take Wacky out of my stream? Oops. The setting sun that filled our high-rise office an hour ago is gone. The city looks like an ocean of light from up here, spreading for miles to the north. You pick up. You're about to call it a day, forget about the world of fintech and decompress at home. No dice. One of the investors wants to meet you. His voice, as always, the perfect mix of authority and sleaze. He'll come by your office in an hour. You look at the clock. An hour? He's got to be kidding. Yeah, I know, but stick around. He's a heavyweight. You'll want to make a good impression. Fine. You grit your teeth a little. The boss hangs up. 2 hours. Might as well pour another coffee into yourself and figure out how to best use this to your advantage. You suspect everyone knows that, no, you're actually not happy with your current position. That in fact, you feel squashed against the glass ceiling that comes with the territory. Sure, your idiot superior might have gotten the job only because he's the CEO's golfing buddy, but you're going to put an unholy amount of work into your advancement. Times where you'd laugh off the idea of staying at the office until 9 p.m. You had a partner to go home to, the nightly Netflix and chill ritual to perform, complete with pizza or Chinese takeout. Ever since you moved up the ladder, though, your hours have only gotten longer. Food? Mostly at the company cafeteria. Sometimes takeout, always in a rush. You praise the heavens for your crazy metabolism, and dread the day it finally decides to catch up with you. Rest? At this point, the cleaning lady who takes care of your apartment probably spends more time in your bedroom than you do. You flash back to your boss quoting Shakespeare to impress his new, extremely attractive and uncomfortably young secretary. For some must watch while some must sleep, so runs the world away. Drinks, mostly with colleagues, and they all pretty much hate you at this point. Another flashback, this time to the most profitable quarter in the company's history. Still, the board decided that layoffs were in order. Hydrate. I'm gonna have to get up and get my water soon. Your boss didn't feel like letting people know in person, so he passed the privilege on to you. Gotta hand it to him. He always knew how to pick his battles. But maybe, just maybe, tonight is the night it's all going to change. You decide to play the good looks angel. Nothing too slutty. You leave your blouse slightly unbuttoned. Check if your ass looks as good as you remembered in your pencil skirt. Mira says yes. It's not something you're proud of, but you've become too jaded to care. Knowing your luck, the investor is going to be one of two types. A self-absorbed Musk wannabe in his 20s, or a fat old pervert drenched in cologne. You hear the elevator ding. Time to get this show on the road. You take one final look in the mirror and fix your hair as the footsteps echo across the empty hallway. The man who appears in your office is not what you expected. He's slick, to be sure, but he seems a bit more refined than your usual company man. Expensive suit, matching tie and a shirt, confident in his stride, surprisingly good looking. Good evening. I hope this unforeseen visit isn't too much of an inconvenience. God, that voice. You're taken aback by how smooth and strong it is, and his eyes. Steel blue, cold, intense. He's all business, professional, treats you in a manner appropriate to your stature. When he speaks, he actually looks you in the eye and not at your cleavage. He asks some questions about your work, tells you how he noticed your input about talking to the CEO, another golfing buddy, and comes charmingly close to calling your boss an incompetent doofus. All the while, you try to guess his accent, but can't quite place it. European, sure, but from where? I know I've kept you long enough, but would you indulge me, and join me for a drink? I can talk. Of course, for a minute there, it seemed like he wasn't that kind of guy. What the hell? You go with it. He seems nice enough. Besides, it's not like you have other plans. The investor has a limo waiting downstairs, and the driver takes you to a high-end restaurant in Williamsburg. A seat is waiting for you in the deluxe lounge. It's just the two of you. You talk about this and that. Your companion seems to have a knack for his history. So tell me, what would you do if you had full control of the company? You almost choke on your wine. This is your chance. You say what's been on your mind for months, but hide it behind a veneer of professional corporate babble. Refocusing, listening to your instincts for once. Restructuring, kicking out your boss. Aggressively pursuing new markets, getting the hell away from all these horrible people. He likes the sound of that. He leans forward. His eyes flash with intensity. And something else. A strange emotion that wasn't there before. You'll do just fine. His words echo inside your head as you black out. You wake up. God only knows how much later. As you try to piece together what happened, you hear a familiar voice. The investor, or whatever the hell he is, talking to someone. You suddenly recall snippets, fragmented memories, his sapphire eyes intently locked with yours, his teeth suddenly longer and sharper. And something else, a feeling on your neck that takes you back to your last orgasm, a company trip to Florida, a sweaty room, the cutie from HR who doesn't work there anymore, and then darkness. Yes, I'm done here. Consider my debt paid. The investor pushes the other figure aside and walks away from the lounge, barely bothering to look at you. The door locks behind him. Some time passes before you find the strength to get up from the couch. You touch your lips. Blood. Did that asshole hit you? You try to stand up, but your head is pounding and your stomach is like a heavy knot pulling you down. You didn't have that much to drink. He must have spiked your wine. This is bad. You frantically check your clothes, Pristine. That doesn't make any sense. All of a sudden, a feeling hits you unlike anything else you've ever felt before. You fall on the floor, withering in an all-encompassing pain and hunger. The kind that makes your insides burn, that cannot be denied. You try to calm yourself down with breathing exercises. They taunt you at some bullshit mindfulness course. That's when it hits you. You're not breathing. And holy shit, your heart should be jumping out of your chest with that realization. But it's not moving. Not even a beat. The door unlocks. You hear a startled voice. A young man in a waiter's outfit, his accent thick with an East European harshness, leans over and asks if you're alright. For a brief moment, you wonder what the hell he's doing here. Everything is wrong. Then his smell reaches your nostrils. It's intoxicating. Everything feels right again. He holds out his arms to help you stand up. You grab it, firmly, with both hands, and then you bite down. You sink your teeth right next to the old-school pin-up tattoo of Rita Hayworth on his forearm. Takes you a moment to process what you're doing. A part of you wants to break away, but a stronger voice implores you to keep drinking. One thing becomes clear. You are definitely enjoying this. He only struggles a little and quickly falls to his knees. You can see his eyes now, pale blue and confused. You only bring yourself to let him go once he collapses onto the floor. Your bite leaves a mess on his forearm. Poor Rita. All bloodied, missing half her face. Did you just drink this guy's blood? You spit out a piece of torn flesh. That's a... Why? Where? What was in that fucking wine? Barely able to focus, your heart and your lungs still motionless, you reach for your phone to dial 911. 911 operator, what's your emergency? I feel like admitting you probably killed someone, not the best thing. You are in America. Maybe go with the I can't breathe? Yeah. I feel like I'm less likely to be shot on sight for that. I can't breathe. Ma'am, where are you right now? The door to the lounge swings open. The man who enters is not the one that brought you here, though there are similarities. He's tall for one, broad-shouldered, handsome, dressed in an immaculate suit, but his skin is darker, and the look on his face tells you he is not here to negotiate a deal. He notices the smartphone in your hand. Pass me the phone if you want to live. The man's voice is persuasive, calm, but carrying a clear threat. He's got the aura of a viciously efficient corporate shark. You find it hard to argue with him. Hello, ma'am? I apologize for wasting your time. My new colleague got drunk and is now trying to impress everyone with her antics. Good night. He disconnects the call and places your phone in his pocket. For whatever reason, you can barely take your eyes off the stranger. As hypnotizing as his presence is, though, it is also highly discomforting. Good evening, miss. I'm here to pick you up. See, so far your whole demeanor with this person, I don't feel like you'd call an ambulance for who? Yourself or the person on the floor, probably still bleeding out? I think at this point, it'd be, who are you? Who are you? I'm your guide through this perilous night. God, that's poetic, isn't it? The stranger approaches the waiter and examines his body. Critical condition, but he might live. Anyway, he then sets his sight on you. I know this is all new to you, but I've dealt with hundreds of strays like you. And going by experience, they tend to fall into two categories. Look, I'm playing the nice one this time. First, there are the smart ones, who carefully obey my every word and don't try to pull off anything stupid. Always get them where they need to be, safe and sound. And then there are the dumb ones, the punks who think they might take me on, the wise guys who tried to contact somebody secretly without permission, the troublemakers who tried to run off or make a scene, losing their legs. None of them got to their destination in one piece. In fact, most of them never reached their destination at all. His voice becomes slightly bored and monotone. You can tell he's given this speech before, likely dozens of times. So you see, while I generally consider myself pretty smart, I'm also a Mets fan. It's my only one true weakness, one that inspired me to come up with a 3-strike system when dealing with pups like you. If you get on my nerves once or twice, well, I understand. Not all of us perform well in stressful situations. But cross me 3 times and you're out. No excuses, no forgiveness, no mercy. As he's talking, he slowly approaches you, adding a bit of theatrical swagger to his walk. Eventually he leans in, deliberately invading your personal space. You realize it's a test. He's daring you to do something about it. 3 strikes, and you're out. Say, "I understand, sir," now. Every atom in your being screams for you to obey his authority. I don't feel like this person would say "fuck you, sir," so that one's definitely out. Look, we're being nice, and quite honestly, I feel like it fits what they've already determined this character's like. I understand, sir. Stick to that tone and you'll do just fine. Moving on. Is there anyone you'd want to inform of your current situation? Tell them you're all right? He flashes his fangs briefly, and for some reason, the sight sends a chill down your spine. There is something very wrong about him. Someone closest to you? I mean, at least there's the option for there's no one this time. I'm guessing the girlfriend was an integral part of the story for the other guy. No, I don't have anyone. The stranger squints at you. No family, no lover, no friends, nothing. A job. Your blank stare tells him the whole story. He immediately stops prying and gives you something even worse than a look of pity. A look of honest compassion. Well, that makes things simpler, but let me be crystal clear, just in case. From this point on, you are subject to different laws than the ones you grew up under, and you'll be watched by many eyes to ensure these laws are respected. You are forbidden from letting anyone know you're still alive. You are forbidden from showing your face anywhere they know you. If anyone comes looking for you, it's over for both you and them. That practice tone again. You put on your poker face and listen in silence. So unless you want your boss to end up at the bottom of the Hudson, I suggest you cooperate. Honestly, at this point, we want the boss to end up at the bottom of the Hudson, don't we? Don't tempt me. He smiles, revealing his fangs again. There's something absolutely sickening about it. Suddenly, you feel overwhelmed by a sense of exhaustion. You pass out. When you regain your senses, you find yourself in the stranger's arms. The man is holding you as you would a spouse who has had a little too much to drink. You try to break free, but he holds you close and gives you a cautioning look. Only when you cease your struggling does he let you go. Only now do you notice the change in scenery. You find yourself in a fancy lobby right next to the elevator. The place is virtually empty. save for a single concierge and some cleaning staff. Your companion gestures at the concierge as you passed, and he picks up the phone. The elevator arrives, the door opens, and the main man motions towards the cabin. After you. I feel at this point we're not going to go screaming. And we've been compliant up to this point, so... Where are we going? To a safe place. That's all you need to know. Trust me, you don't want to make this difficult. Just get in. I mean, we're gonna step inside the elevator. Like, seriously, game. I've been compliant up to this point. Why would I choose now to start doing shit? Going against your instincts, you enter the cabin. Smooth jazz is playing over the speakers as the elevator starts its descent. You are dazed, panicky, but somehow locked in place. On the one hand, you find the stranger's presence oddly soothing. On the other, you can feel your body tensing up with stress. You can't help but think back to the young waiter, the doe-eyed look on his face, the confused look he gave you as just before... No. Better not to think about it. Plus, you have other things to worry about, like the fact you're being kidnapped. The cabin door opens to the same garage you arrived at with the investor some hours ago. The man shows you to a black Cadillac Escalade. I know what you're thinking. Get in the car with some strange man. Boy, sure seems like a dumb idea. Maybe I can make a run for it. I might be able to lose him. So, let me be perfectly clear. Your best bet is to get in, relax, and enjoy the ride. I mean, okay, so I'm gonna base a lot of my decisions this time off of what the predetermined narrative has said. We weren't worried about the waiter before. Now we feel a little bit guilty. We followed the strange man so far. We're hesitant, but that's, inner female kicking in, honestly. I don't see any point in saying, like, I've got money here, take my money, because honestly, he would have probably taken that already and just left me. I don't know, do we want to ask about the waiter? Or do we want to know what he wants? What do you guys think? Ask about the waiter? What does he want? I mean, it makes sense. We're a little more about the self-preservation this time round. What do you want from me? To meet your new superiors. You'll see. Superiors? Is this what a hostile takeover looks like nowadays? No more questions. Get in the car, please. I mean, we're not going to make a run for it. Let's be honest. We've half murdered a man. The hotel staff have seen us being compliant with this guy getting in the elevator. He did say please. He was polite about it. This is very true, Geek. He was very polite about it. Although the text is not wrong. It seems like the worst idea ever. But the man's made it very clear that you have no choice in the matter. I've got friends. We've just told him we don't have friends. Why is that an option? He already knows we don't know anyone. Let's ask what his name is. Let's see if we can get that out of him. Can I at least know your name? You'll know it when the time is right. Oh, what kind of bullshit prissy answer is that? He takes a glance at his expensive-looking watch. Listen, you really need to quit stalling. We're on a bit of a schedule here. The sun comes up in about 2 hours, and I don't intend to be here when it does. I mean, if you just told me your name, it wouldn't have mattered. I'm having Coke because I don't want to get up and go get water. Like, it would have been quicker to just tell me your name. Can I just get in the car? Like, why am I still asking questions? Just get in the fucking car, ask the questions in the car. Right, the sun. What's it matter what time the sun comes up? You really don't know, do you? Good thing I got here when I did. He opens the car door and gestures towards it. You see no point in delaying the inevitable, so you get in. The door locks behind you. The Cadillac is almost entirely dark. The side windows seem light-proof. The man gets in the driver's seat, starts the engine, and drives away without another word. Now I'm going to disregard the middle one, because... then again... with how she describes the relationship with the boss, it could be a sick joke. I don't see a reason of asking, how am I alive? Did I die is a reasonable thing to ask. So, is this a joke or did I die? I don't know. Both very good options. Spade, which one? Is this a joke or did I die? I mean, we could possibly think this guy's the Grim Reaper. Did I die? Yeah. Did I die? Depends on your definition of death. Listen, I realize you have many questions. Tomorrow, you'll get some answers. But tonight, you need to do what I say. And right now, I need some quiet. Please. You feel too confused to protest. You stay silent for the rest of the ride, even as more questions bubble to the surface. One of them being, did you actually kill someone tonight? Staring out the window, you find it hard to focus and quickly lose track of where you're headed. You can only tell that you haven't left Manhattan. Another underground parking, almost featureless, empty. The car stops, and the man opens the door for you. We're here. The stranger walks you to a nearby door. He opens it and motions at you to get in. Go on in, make yourself comfortable. If you get hungry, again, take a look in the fridge. I'll pick you up tomorrow, and you'll get your answers. Behind the door is a small room. No windows, just a simple bed and a single light bulb hanging from the ceiling. A small fridge is humming away in the corner, accompanied by a rattling AC fan in the wall. I feel like we should be asking all of these in succession. What's happening? Where are you going? You're leaving me here? Is there an all of the above option? Geeky make me sad. What are you two doing? You're leaving me here? That's it? You're just gonna leave me here? That's it. For now, at least. Look, this room is your best chance of seeing another night. I realize you've been put in a problematic situation, and it's not entirely your fault. Cooperate, and you might still make it. You will learn more tomorrow, but for the time being, get in and get cozy. He gestures inside the room. Yeah, we're being nice this time. You step inside. The stranger nods. Good night. He locks the door behind you. It looks very sturdy. You open the fridge. There's a single plastic bag in there, filled with red liquid. No label. Tomato soup? You feel sick to your stomach. Best to leave it for now. You lie down on the bed. It's a simple mattress on a metal frame. At least it's not too filthy. You think back to how this evening began. This investor. Is he friends with the dark-skinned stranger who picked you up from the restaurant? What happens now? Unable to relax, you spend an hour or so playing out various scenarios in your head. Eventually, you decide to give in and let exhaustion take over. Whatever tomorrow brings, you'd rather face it well rested. Plus, there's no way in hell your boss isn't going to notice your absence tomorrow. That, and maybe some of the restaurant staff will feel a pang of conscience. Someone will notify the police. Someone will find you, right? You flash forward to the waiter's tattoo. The bloody Rita Hayworth winking at you over a pale mess of a wound. You did this. You bit him, drank his blood, and it tasted good. What if you can never go home again? You are so tired. Your entire body tenses up one last time, and before you know it, you drifted away into oblivion. You wake up. That itself is a surprise. You barely remember when you drifted off. It didn't feel quite like sleep, more like plummeting into an endless void. You imagine that's how death feels like. The room is unchanged. The lamp is still on, the AC is still rattling, the refrigerator is still humming. You take a look at your watch. It's almost 9 p.m. You've slept for 17 hours straight. Maybe you died. Your breath is gone, and you feel no thumping in your chest. Does it qualify as dead if you're still conscious? You're not sure about that. You're certain about one thing. You're hungry. It's not your stomach rumbling, though. It's a need that starts somewhere in your abdomen and spreads to your chest, throat, and back of the head. You open the fridge. The bag is still there. You take a closer look at it. If it's soup, its color and texture are off. You pull the cork out, take a whiff. You recognize the smell immediately. Holy shit. There's no mistaking it. It's bagged blood. The smell is faint, and you remember some situations in the past where you found it nauseating. But now it's almost... No, not almost. It is enticing. We're hungry. Let's do it. Fuck it. It feels wrong, but right now, there's barely anything in your life that doesn't. To hell with it. You pour a bit of the liquid into your mouth. It tastes like shit. It's coppery, thick, and clings to your tongue and the inside of your mouth like a film of dirt. You swallow hard regardless. The taste is foul, but somehow you kind of want more of it. As you take a second sip, sucking the blood out of the bag, you feel something pull on your insides. You double over. You're going to barf. You instinctively cover your mouth, looking for a place to vomit. Before you find it, a dark red wave washes over your hand and fingers. It hits the floor, spluttering in huge, thick drops. You keep heaving for a moment longer. Nothing is coming out. Not blood, not bile, not even spit. But still something in your body wants to push it out. Push it all out, every last drop. As you recover, trying to wipe the droplets of regurgitated blood from your dress, you hear the lock click to see the door open. Standing there is the well-dressed stranger you met yesterday. Immaculate suit again, that predatory look like a hawk on the hunt, but somehow more relaxed tonight. So, like a tame hawk, maybe. Good evening. How was... He noticed the splatter, your red hand, the sick look on your face. He barely contains a smirk. Oh, was the catering unable to satisfy your exquisite taste? Apologies. I feel like we would tell him that was foul. I don't think we'd offer him a drink, and I'm pretty sure at this point we know it's blood. It was terrible. Probably the worst thing I've ever tasted. Aren't we picky eaters? Spare me your complaining. Come on, we're going. We've got places to be. I should have some water and a towel in the back of the car so you can clean yourself up. The car is humming in the empty parking lot, just outside the door of the cramped room you had spent the day in. The man motions to it, politely, but with a stern look on his face. I'm sorry. She now gets the options to rush the stranger, get inside the car, or hijack it. What? Game. Hear me out. What part of the scenarios that have happened before this would I choose anything but get inside the car? I'm not hijacking it, Spade. It's not like I have a choice, right? Correct. But your cooperation is appreciated nonetheless. You take the back seat again. The doors lock. The stranger takes the wheel and starts the car. You drive in silence for a while. From time to time, you keep trying to catch glimpses of familiar streets or landmarks through the blackened windows, but it's of little use. The car is also soundproof, so all you can hear is a bit of traffic humming in the car's engine. The driver doesn't say anything and seems focused on the road. You check the door handle. Yeah, the door is locked all right. Piece of dark glass separating you and the front of the car looks sturdy too. There's nothing left to do but wait. You don't have time to think about it before, but you realize now that you're hungry? No, not exactly. It's not a rumbling stomach that grabs your attention. Didn't we just go through this? You become restless. This is essentially a kidnapping. Whatever this guy says about its purpose, it doesn't change the fact that you're being held against your will, and you're not used to following orders when you can't delegate them to somebody else. You feel a need to get a semblance of control over the situation, so you decide to prove yourself useful. I know people in high places. I don't think he'd care about money. So either I have a worthwhile skill set or I know people in high places. I got friends in low places. Look, she doesn't have friends. We've gone over this. I know people. Listen, I know how to reach people. Celebs, various industry leaders, politicians backed by rich lobbies. I doubt these will help you where you're going. You're playing in a whole different ballpark now. Too late, Chaos. Type faster. A short pause. I'll be frank. Currently, you're in no position to offer anybody anything. The sooner you accept that, the better. What? I don't want to do any of these. Is silence just not an issue? Can I not... Is pouting. I want pouting to be an option. I want pouting to be an option. I want to just sit back in the car, cross my arms, and pout. I don't want to do anything. Like I don't want to ridicule him. All he said to me is that I'm not... I feel like that'd... I guess call him a nobody, but at the same time, you got no fucking idea. Oops. I didn't mean to click. Oh, damn it. Oh, well. Oops. This is mean. Oh, I'm sure nobody... I know. I didn't mean to do that. Oh, I'm sure nobody low-level enforcer like you knows a thing or two about being in no position to offer anybody anything. Oh! Oh, I did not mean to do that. I love the response, but... you pushed the right buttons. He gives you an absolutely furious stare in the rearview mirror. For a second, you spot a crack in his professional demeanor. You don't know anything about me, and you have no idea where I'm coming from or where I'm headed. For a few seconds, he quietly fumes. Your attitude won't help you make any friends, and in your current position, you definitely need some. Consider that, preferably in silence. Look, I wanted that dude, okay? The game was not about to let me. The dull hunger strikes again. The power... Look, she's hungry, okay? I'm a little hangry. Just a little hangry. Get her some chicken nuggies, and we all be Gucci. That dull hunger strikes again. The powerlessness hurts. You are used to people listening to you, or pretending to care about your demands at least. The driver doesn't play that game, and it annoys you to no end. It takes you another 20 or so minutes to get to your destination. As the door opens, you try to get your bearings. You're still in New York, that much is certain. Queens, maybe? After me. No sudden movements, please. You approach a nice-looking building that houses a 2-story gallery called the Art Hall. The 2 large men in suits flank the door on both sides, and they give your companion a nod as you approach. Prompted by the stranger guiding you, you walk inside. The gallery is full, which is unusual at this hour, to say the least. About 24 faces fill the showroom, and a number of waiters navigate the gathering, serving drinks. All of them are beneath the guests' attention. The visitors are well dressed for the most part, but it's unclear what they have gathered here for. Nobody seems to be particularly interested in the art pieces on the walls, and the atmosphere is polite, unnaturally so. Many guests turn to look at you, and the stranger who brought you here. Their glances are varied. You see open contempt on a few faces, and animated interest on others. Most of the eyes in the room calmly observe you, as if wishing to appraise your worth. This reminds you of your company meetings. You, the only woman in the room, silently judged not on her merits, but her standing on the list. Passed incandescent email threads between your male co-workers until HR found out about it, that is. Not the most pleasant experience, but there's no denying it taught you resilience. When others would cower, you now straighten up. When others would turn their gaze, you meet the eyes of the gallery guests with confidence. Good evening, Quidair, and you, child. The noble, cold voice takes you out of your head and back to the situation at hand. The gallery, the crowd of strangers, you being brought here against your will. For what purpose? The room awaits your response. We're being good. Good evening, Miss. You are addressing the Prince of New York City, Helena Panhard, child of Michelle. Thank you, Sheriff, but I'm capable of introducing myself. She is somewhat plain-looking and doesn't seem to possess a great deal of charm, but still, the entire room is intently focused on her voice. She has influence over these people. That much is clear. Thank you for the host as well, Wacky. I did see that. You may address me as Prince, child. I realize your introduction into unlife was abrupt, and understand your sire left shortly after. The rules of our society dictate I punish both for this transgression. A murmur of agreement, maybe, can be heard from the gathered audience. But I am willing to listen to what our loyal sheriff has to say about the circumstances of your embrace first. I feel like being quiet at this point might be the better option. You decide it's best to stay silent and listen to the whole situation unfold. It feels like you're out of your depth here. Shall we begin? You're about to be judged by the court of New York City. Quidair, please tell us how you found this fledgling and what happened on your way here. Court? Prince? Is this some kind of secret society make-believe? A trusted informant, who was chosen to remain anonymous at this time, tipped me off about a suspicious kindred appearing in one of our domains. Upon investigating, I found them gone, but this fledgling remained in their place. A reservation made in the private lounge of the Partition suggests this one's sire had plenty of resources to spend. However, they are apparently also well connected. I lost track of them. Despite some reservations, she offered little resistance last night and cooperated on our way to the safe house. I was pleased not to have to force her compliance. Opening the door to the safe house tonight, I was greeted by a most disturbing sight of her drenched in regurgitated blood. Apparently, the bagged supply we kept in the fridge was not to her liking. The remark elicits a contemptuous chuckle from one of the gathered guests as they note the remains of blood on your skirt. It's not an elegant sight, but that hardly matters, I suppose. Moving on. We had a quick chat, but wishing to appear here post-haste, I urged her to join me, which she did without struggle. A pleasant departure from my usual routine, I must say. During our drive here, she showed me her fangs, metaphorically speaking, posturing as if we were equals, insulting me when it didn't work. I refrained from causing her physical harm, but I expect her ego might still be a bit bruised. He looks at you and flashes a nasty smile. The story ends with us arriving at the Elysium tonight. All eyes are on you again. You take special interest in one of the faces. It's a beautiful woman with curly, almost blood-red hair and a dress to match. You see her whispering to some bespectacled man with an absent-minded look on his face. Who is she, you wonder? Thank you, Quidair. I take note of this fledgling's behavior and will take it into consideration later. She turns her attention to you. First, there is the matter of your sire, the person who brought you here, brought you where Quidair picked you up from last night. Who were they? Might as well. An entrepreneur, acquaintance of my boss, I think. Good looking, pale blue eyes and some grey in his hair. Charming. An abusive, cold son of a bitch. Ew. It's so not work. You feel tired and angry. This whole situation, spending the day in some underground parking lot, having to bear the looks of a room full of strangers, it's almost too much to take in stride. There's no reason you should take it all in stride. But you do. Because if there's one thing your professional career has taught you, it's that. All because of that asshole, whoever he was. He never even gave you a name or a card. Nothing. Well, Quadir, does that sound familiar? No, it doesn't. Or at least not familiar enough. We'll continue to search after we're done here. Ooh, shall we rat on the... I'm sorry, Wacky. Shall we snitch on the person at the restaurant? I don't think we'd ask if we can go now. But what happens now, or should we snitch on the restaurant people? Yeah, snitch? That man, he talked to somebody at the restaurant before he left. I can't remember what he said, but he wasn't alone. Maybe there's a lead you can follow? Did he now? That is interesting. I do hope the proprietor won't stay mad at us for losing one of his staff. It's almost like he knows the waiter's fate is still bothering you and takes pleasure in pointing it out. Thank you for that observation. I will investigate it later. What shall I do with the fledgling, my prince? What is your recommendation, my sheriff? The traditions are clear. Thou shalt only sire another with permission from thine elder. If thou creates another without thine elder's leave, both thou and thy progeny shall be slain. I'm ready to fulfill my duty. Stay your hand for a moment longer, Quadir. I wish to consult my counsel on this. Make sure everyone is in agreement. Of course. He seemed strangely relieved. The prince leaves the main showroom, and a handful of people follow her out. You're about to ask Quadir what all that talk of traditions and councils was, when the red-haired woman approaches the two of you. Sophie. Sheriff, I was wondering if I could have a word with the fledgling. What for? She lowers her voice in response. Come now, Quadir. We all know what the verdict is going to be. Let me speak to them. You might not have to stain your hands tonight after all. Her words grab his attention. His face is hard to read. It's like several emotions are struggling for dominance. Anger, sadness, hope, gratitude, resolve. I'll go get my sword. He steps out of the room, the way you came, and you are left in the showroom with the woman in the red dress. She takes you aside, and the eyes of the remaining guests follow you. Well then, fledgling, you're in quite the pickle. Maybe you'll tell me what the hell this is? Shall we go for a nicer way of phrasing that? What do you mean? I still don't understand what my crime is here. Poor thing. This really isn't your fault. But if you want to get out of here on peace, you need to understand one crucial fact that seems to have eluded your grasp. Last night, you became a vampire. Wait, what? Oh yes, I'm well aware of how ridiculous that sounds. It's the reasons why we use these nicer words for it. Kindred, being embraced, having a sire. The fact remains, the beings called vampires. You're looking at them. They're us. You glance around. Some of the guests are still occasionally looking at you, commenting on you in hushed tones. Many of the patrons are pale. Really pale. Most holding glasses of wine. No, not wine. It's not the right thickness. And not the right color either. You're trying to come up with something sensible to say, but you're drawing a blank. It makes a morbid kind of sense. You drank blood last night, there's no denying it. And your breathing has not returned. Your heart remains still. A vampire. Two voices in your head start battling for supremacy. One of them slowly begins to put everything that happened since yesterday together, coming to a conclusion that no matter how insane it might seem, nothing but what she's saying makes sense. The other one just keeps saying, what the fuck, on repeat. You're surprised. This is often how it plays out by design. Quadir deliberately keeping you in the dark and all. If we do nothing, you will be cut down, as sure as the day follows night. But I'm here to offer you a chance, a way out, under one condition. I'll take you under my wing. If you're lucky, the prince will be in a good mood tonight, and Quadir's compliments about your behavior won't influence her judgment. The society values docility. She might agree to this, but only if you swear fealty to me. I'm not making this offer lightly. As your patron, I will take responsibility for you. Your actions will reflect on me. If they reflect negatively, well, I'll make sure you face the consequences. I feel like that's one we'd ask. You're saying the prince might have other plans for me? What will you offer to convince her? You'll see it yourself, hopefully. Know this. There are certain traditions and a history of our society in this city that I can tap into. My word might not carry much weight, but it's not easily ignored either. Steps and hushed voices can be heard from the side room. It seems the prince and her council are returning to the showroom. Quadir appears from downstairs as well and starts walking towards you. When you hear the verdict, ask to be spared. I will intervene. Remember my condition. She flashes a heart-melting smile towards Quadir, who does not smile back. The sheriff's immaculate suit is now complemented by a curved, oriental-looking metal scarab, fashioned with a colourful sash around his waist. You look vaguely ridiculous, if it wasn't surprisingly intimidating first and foremost. Quadir takes his place next to you and observes as the prince takes center stage again. Loyal kindred of New York City Camarilla, gathered here tonight, I have made my decision regarding this fledgling. This behavior since being embraced has been disagreeable, and that does not bode well for them becoming a valuable member of our society. I did one thing! You are keenly aware that these nights we need to close our ranks and trust the wisdom of our elders and their traditions more than ever before. As our trusted sheriff pointed out, there can only be one course of action. Although I acknowledge some of my counsel's divergent opinions on this, she takes a look specifically at one of the people who left the room before. A somewhat plainly dressed, shy-looking man whose skin had a somewhat healthier tone. He bows his head in deference. I hold the final authority over this fledgling's fate, and I declare that while their embrace might be the sire's responsibility, in their absence it is their progeny that shall be punished. The sentence is final death, to be resolved presently. Quadir. You hear the scraping sound and see that the sheriff has unsheathed his curved sword. It is a beautifully detailed blade, which you expect must be worth a small fortune. Its apparent sharpness makes you freeze up. 2 outs, bottom of the 9th. His quiet mumble is audible to nobody but you. His eyes meet yours. You note just a hint of sadness in his countenance, one that quickly vanishes to give way to grim determination. And he's out to bat. You will not get another chance to speak up. We're gonna do the ask for mercy. I know you hate her. You make your choice. Spare me, please. Don't make me beg, goddammit. Prince, if I may ask you to stay the sheriff's hand for a while longer. Quadir looks at the prince, awaiting her response. The sword is still hanging above you, threatening to fall at a moment's notice. Is there something you'd like to say, Miss Langley? Yes, if I may. At first the prince looks somewhat annoyed at the distraction, but she stays quiet for a while, measuring the mood in the room. The bored elite suddenly look at you with aroused interest. Some of them dismayed at not seeing the bloodshed, but all intrigued by the unexpected twist. The prince nods. Well, let's hear it. Sophie takes a step forward. All eyes are on her now, but Quiddir's heavy hand on your shoulder makes it clear you won't take advantage of the distraction. My prince, while the traditions are clear, I believe that the proper context should be observed in addition to the letter of our laws. This fledgling is a burden, but with proper guidance, they could become an asset to our domain. And I understand you are volunteering to take this unruly child under your protection? Yes, I am willing to give them a chance, and to prove the entire domain that they can adhere to our expectations. I will take nothing less than their full cooperation, naturally. Whispers can be heard again, an incredulous voice or two. A hush, just behead the fucker. Some suppressed exclamations of surprise. Silence! I ask all of you to make a note of this moment. It might be persuaded to bend one tradition in this child's favor, but another will have to be enforced even more firmly in its stead. Until thy progeny shall be released, thou shalt command them in all things. Their sins are thine to endure. Are you certain that's a responsibility you wish to shoulder, Miss Langley? I am willing to guide this fledgling and add a valuable ally to our sect in a time of need. Yes. But I would like to receive the right of destruction over them, if it pleases you. Ooh. I don't think we'd speak up and say this wasn't a part of the deal. I reckon either plead with the prince or remain silent. Remain silent? Alright. Its clear tensions are high. It feels surreal to listen to strangers discussing your death. Or second death, apparently. And keep being silent. You decide it's for the best to let Sophie handle this alone and not interject. You have no idea how to handle these eyed wide shut crowd. The prince looks at you as if weighing your worth. She takes another good measure of the room before she speaks again. I shall grant what you ask. Let it be known. Sophie Langley of the Clan of the Rose will become this fledgling's patron. They shall be considered like sire and child. Miss Langley will take full responsibility for them, and I grant her the right of destruction if she sees fit to use it. Let my intentions be clear, however. If I am to turn a blind eye to one of our most important traditions on this occasion, I expect it to be beneficial to the Camarilla. Substantially so. I hope you find this verdict satisfactory, Miss Langley. Of course, Prince. Thank you. Very well. She turns to you. What is your name, child? Yeah, let's give it. Mirabella, Prince. She nods. Welcome to the Camarilla, Mirabella. Now, this evening proved to be even more eventful than I anticipated. But with the fledgling's fate decided, I believe our meeting here can conclude. Thank you all for appearing on such short notice. Give my regards to those who couldn't make it. Quiddir, a moment of your time before I let you return to your duties. Of course, Prince. He shoots you a side glance that doesn't leave much space for interpretation. You will be watched. You will be judged. And if need be, you will be punished. The two of them leave the gallery. Well, Mirabella, I think we're both already managed to significantly improve each other's evenings. But let's keep the ball rolling, shall we? I think we should have a toast to a new, fruitful partnership. She raises her hand to one of the well-dressed concierges, who have now reappeared in the showroom to refill the guests' glasses. The conventionally handsome man approaches you with a carafe of red liquid. The memory of throwing up in the safe house is still fresh in your mind, and the idea that it should happen again is almost enough to reject the drink altogether. But there's no denying you want it, need it. I remember what Quidir said about your misadventure before getting in the car. Some of us have more delicate palates than others. Try to take a small sip. S'il vous plaît. I know French. I wasn't about to grievously mispronounce all of that. He pours it into 2 glasses. You can barely wait until he hands you the drink. Your attention is fully on it. The fact that it's blood, you are certain of it, doesn't faze you this time. It's difficult to take just a sip. Even though the taste is as foul as before, you are tempted to down the whole glass in one go. You wait before taking a second taste. You're glad you did. A feeling like heartburn signals you can't keep it down. You spit it back inside the glass. Sophie looks on, intrigued. I'm not surprised. New York City caterers have very blasé ideas about what good blood tastes like. Well, you just need to keep trying. At Sophie's request, the concierge serves you 3 other variants of blood. The first 2 are horrible and indigestible as before, both ending up back in the glass within moments of tasting them. Before the 3rd try, you are almost ready to throw the glass at the wall in frustration. But finally, this one's different. Instead of mud and decay, a surprisingly rich bouquet of tastes. You feel blissful, at ease, and Sophie takes notice. Ah, there it is. Jacob, would you kindly let us know who the donor was? Leave the bottle, please. The concierge nods and leaves again. You take another sip, and another. You empty the glass. The dull feeling in your stomach and head starts subsiding, but you still want more. Sophie pours you another glass and refills hers. She takes a sip. You have a curiously specific taste, Mirabella. Is it the clover notes, the traces of caffeine, or that bittersweet aftertaste of melancholy? You taste nothing of the kind, but it doesn't matter. It's tasty, but not as delicious as it was last night, not as intoxicating. It manages to silence the hunger somewhat, though. Drinking blood puts you at ease. It is a strange realization. The man named Jacob comes back with a small card and leaves it with Sophie. She takes a quick look and passes it on to you. It's somebody's medical details. An office worker, male, Caucasian, 32 years old, blood type ABRH+, blue eyes, brown hair, no history of substance abuse, New Jersey native. Might one of these details be what makes the difference? Now that we've picked the right bouquet for your palate, these documents should be useful in identifying your exact taste. They should be an ORH plus or a Joycey Boys. But I believe you have more questions now. Perhaps we should start with those related to sustenance. What do you think we should ask? I was hoping there'd be a natural stopping point in here somewhere, but I kind of want to finish this night out first. Yes, word hard. Please stop using French words. two? I guess they're kind of the same. Let's go with more the last one. Because I reckon we won't have to worry about where to get it. These difficulties of mine. How do I navigate that? How will I know what kind of blood I can drink? It's a tricky question. I believe you'll just have to trust your instincts on this. With time, you should be able to narrow down your particular preference. Blood that you reject is, of course, of no value to you, and is a horrible waste. No amount of it will ever sate your hunger completely, but every little sip counts. If you're frugal, or forced by the circumstances, you can survive many nights without a single drink, but it's risky, and will tempt the beast that is a part of our curse. It will take some time to find the right balance. Tomorrow, I shall take you hunting, and we will explore this topic further. But you should be good for now. Ooh, what do we want to know? Do we want to know the particulars of our contract with this person? I feel like we should. So now that I'm working for you, what are my responsibilities going to be like? It's a bit more complicated than working for me. If I wished for a servant, there were easier ways to achieve that than risking the prince's charnage at Elysium. I can see potential in you that would have been wasted if I hadn't spoken up. Not to mention it would pain me to witness a senseless final death. It's always had. That said, I will require that you defer to me in all things. But me being your mentor and superior also means that I shall treat you as my loyal retainer and understudy. With me, you can go far. Without me and proper guidance, you would have become a clear danger to the Masquerade. That is why, with your side gone, the prince wanted you out of the picture too. The concierge returns, asks for permission to intrude, which Sophie gives with a polite smile, and leans in to whisper in her ear. You note that the gallery is now almost empty. I'm being told the gallery is about to close, but we still have quite a lot to discuss. We'll go to one of my apartments. My jalopy is waiting downstairs. Come. The smile she puts on could tip any negotiation towards her favor. Her words are like honey, and she makes it impossible to take your eyes off her. You are under her spell momentarily. Sophie leads you to a luxurious silver Rolls Royce and invites you to sit in the back. The chauffeur, a broad-shouldered, clean-shaven, middle-aged guy, starts driving immediately. Where did we leave off? I believe I started telling you a bit more about our customs. You've heard the prince refer to our traditions. The chief among them is the Masquerade. As you might have gathered from us assembling at a niche gallery after closing time, our comings and goings and doings tend to be somewhat secretive. We do not advertise our existence. We allow myths and modern fiction to morph and muddle the facts. So to the vast majority of kin, we remain bedtime stories and pop culture icons. Say, is that one television show about a vampire angel still popular? You shake your head in confusion. She shrugs and continues talking, looking a little bit more dejected than before. I can do this. Our clandestine ways help us remain safe. Allow us to explain away the occasional trip up to the rational minds of the 21st century humanity and dictate much of our interactions with mortals. Ooh, okay. Clandestine. Thank you. Ooh. Should we ask about our career? I feel like that's important to us. So, what you're saying is, who I've become must remain a secret? What about my job then? My career? Is it over just like that? Not necessarily, but you'll need to step lightly. It goes without saying that you will need an explanation for your disappearance, and it will be a few more nights before I let you go it alone. You might be one of the Kindred now, but that comes with certain... Can this person stop using words I don't know? I'm going to say that means risks. For one, sunlight burns us. That's why we rest during the day. You felt it. More like dead than being dormant, isn't it? Some more folk-related threats are just legends, or occasionally a minor nuisance. Garlic, running water, even religious symbols won't repel us unless the wielder is uniquely pure and godly. Caveats. Thank you. Stakes through the heart, though, that's something to avoid. They do not destroy, but they do paralyze, which under the right circumstances can often be the same thing. There's a reason to have somebody like my trusted driver Gregory, making sure you're safe when you drift away. We have many enemies, and they often know their advantage lies with daylight. Ooh. Nuggies. Oh, yeah, how do we know we can trust the driver? Your driver must know who he works for, right? I mean, he's right there. Surely he can hear everything we're saying. How can you trust him to keep your secrets? His loyalty is assured by partaking of my blood, but his loyalty extends beyond his dependency, as I'm sure he'll be happy to tell you if you ask. It is a nice change of pace. Our little sect supplies social interactions aplenty, but it doesn't really encourage counting on someone. Support given in exchange for favors? Yes, that's more likely. Long-term solidarity does occur in the Camarilla, but we are very politicized organization by necessity. Loyalty is to your sire, to your prince, and to the sect. When you're in Elysium, like we were tonight, the sect can appear to be a monolith. The reality is more complex. Outside the official gatherings, shady deals and a quid pro quo mentality reign supreme. She seems to be lost in thought, falls silent for a while, leaving you to ponder all the things you've learnt tonight. It feels like absolutely unreal, but as a piece after piece of knowledge falls into place, the image becomes almost like an entirely logical jigsaw puzzle. Whatever you would have believed on your own, you've witnessed. Many questions swarm your thoughts, but the one you keep returning to is what your place in this new reality should be. The car stops. You're in the city, in front of an old but well-renovated apartment building. We're here. Would you like to see your lodgings? My own apartment? Neat. I feel like we'd ask if it's another parking lot room. Is it another drab safe room in an underground parking lot? For my safety and all that? Don't be ridiculous. You're not a Silas fledgling in Quidaire's stern grasp anymore. And even he wouldn't hold you there any longer than necessary, I think. Come upstairs. She leads you through a small hall with a night guard who greets Miss Langley with a good evening, and you take the stairs up to the second floor. Sophie opens the door to room 209. Inside are all the amenities you could expect from a modern apartment. and some you wouldn't have deemed necessary just the previous night, including thick blinds on the windows. The back room is a comfortable-looking bed and a thick steel door with several sturdy-looking locks, but no windows. Well, how do you like it? I don't think we'd be that rude. But I don't think we'd be like, oh my god, thank you so much. Is that a sliding door? Oh, well enough. Won't impress anybody, but it'll do fine, I guess. It has finer qualities you might grow to accept. Make yourself at home. Tomorrow, I will take you hunting and discuss the blood in more details. I'll let you get comfortable. The keys are by the television set. I will pick you up tomorrow night. Use the back room to rest. You can lock the doors, just in case. It stings a bit when she leaves. It's like the room suddenly became a few shades dimmer. You inspect the kitchen, hoping to find something to drink. Nothing, no regular food either. Feels strange that Quadir could be a more thoughtful host than your new sire, even if only in that respect. You briefly wonder if the sheriff might have a hidden side. If, with nothing left to do, you lie on the couch with the TV playing in the background for company. Columbo reruns. Kojak reruns. President of the United States got him into serious trouble again. President of the United States got him into serious trouble again. Prudence starts yelling over each other about things that seemed a little less significant just 2 days ago. You start drifting off, reflecting about another night in the confusing conversations and worldview-shattering revelations. How many more before you finally understand what happened to you and what you're supposed to do now? You keep coming back to the life you left behind, the people you should contact, the things you want to pick up from your apartment. You wonder when you'll have the chance for either. As you start to feel the same tiredness that made you drift into cold sleep last night, you settle in the back room. The bed is comforting. The lack of windows, less so. You leave the light bulb on, looking at you. You realize it's the closest you'll ever get to staring at the sun on a breezy summer day again. A wave of melancholy overwhelms you. A few minutes later, your consciousness fades, and you take the plunge into darkness again. Sinking, sinking, sinking. Alright. We might leave it there, guys, and we will come back with the next night. Next time. Wacky, what do you want about? I know you've put in ignore that part, Squix, but I don't want to ignore it. Nothing. I don't believe you. Alright, guys. Well, yeah. We'll leave it there. And we might come back to this tomorrow. He has coffee. That's fine. Yeah, no. We might come back to this either tomorrow or another day, but I'll make sure I have plenty of water and that with me next time. Oh, yeah, of course. Of course. But yeah. I will see you all next time. Bye!